welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited for another video in my palette week where I'm posting a video every single day that somehow relates to eyeshadow palettes, and I thought it would be fun to talk to you guys today about my summer eyeshadow palette rotation. So I have 15 palettes in front of me today that I want to focus on this summer. I am hoping that I have another Shop My Stash rotation up before this video where I share with you obviously all the products that I'm going to be using for the next, I was gonna do 3 months, but I think I'm gonna do 6 weeks and then do another Shop My Stash in 6 weeks, so I can kind of have 2 Shop My Stashes per season. But in that video, you'll see me pull quite a few of these palettes for my first little summertime rotation. I mean, I know we're in July now, but I screwed up filming my Shop My Stash as well, so I have been focusing on some of these palettes already for the last month or so. Quite a few of these are actually newer to my collection this year. Last year I feel like I was super into color this time of year, and this year I have been feeling like the neutral, just like super bronzy looks, but I do have, in my opinion, a good mix of neutrals and colors. So if you guys are interested in seeing the 15 palettes that are in my summertime palette rotation, stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project painting content, palette themed content, or you just like chit-chatting about makeup, I would love for you to consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's get into the video. I could not be bothered to do my hair, and it really could use a good brush today. It's like the longest it's ever been, and it's so thick and heavy, but I also want to keep growing it out. Like, I just cannot bring myself to cut it. I want your guys' comments below. What palettes are you pulling out for the summer? Are there any I need to buy, or are there any I'm forgetting about that are in my collection that I need to pull out as well? So maybe I'll start with the palettes that are new to my collection as of this year, and then we will move on to ones that I've had for a little bit. So I have seven. Okay, so I have 7 palettes that are new to my collection as of this year that I am pulling out for the summertime. And the first one is one of those bronzy palettes that I'm really into. So this is the Canyon palette by Alter Ego. This is the dupe for the Natasha Denona bronze palette. It is so beautiful and honestly just really my vibes this year in terms of eyeshadow and makeup. I'm like trying to get myself to have fun with color, but I just keep going back to the bronzy looks. Today I played around with some hot pink, and I did have fun playing around. Today I wanted to do this more subdued, corally pink look that I saw inspiration for on Pinterest, I believe it was, and then it turned into something completely different. But this I am very excited to reach for. This is just so sultry. I didn't pull my Colourpop Wild Child palette, but I could have pulled that one as well because it's those sultry bronzes that I just think about the hottest of hot summer nights on a patio, sipping cocktails, eating my favorite nachos. My favorite restaurant that we go to all summer long is right on the pier. You can see all the boats all night, sunset, beautiful. My husband and I go there at least once a week, and I get their Gouda nachos, and they're so freaking good. So this palette I'll be wearing when we go there. Okay, next up, I did not plan to purchase this, but I mentioned, I think in my makeup rehab series when I was talking about purchasing this palette, it was my daughter's kindergarten graduation, and I don't know if I was just having a moment where I was feeling sorry for myself, but I walked by the Nars Summer Solstice palette and I was like, you know what? I feel like I just absolutely need this because, again, it gives me those warm, bronzy, summertime vibes that I have just been loving, and I cannot stop reaching for this palette. Usually when I get a new palette, this is a weird thing about me, it takes me sometimes weeks or months. I still have palettes that I purchased in January that I have not tried. Brand new palettes. This, literally the day that I got this, I wore this to my daughter's kindergarten graduation, and I just keep reaching for this. I love this. I think it is beautiful. The quality is really nice. I will say the shimmer shadows, a majority of them are actually more lid toppers. They're not going to be a super intense foiled shade, which is totally fine with me. I have many other palettes in my collection that I can reach for if I want a more foiled shadow. But if you don't like a more sheer or kind of that lid topper, not so intense, if you're looking for more intense, I would say this might be a skip for you, but I have been loving that. And then another new palette to my collection, I decided to give Vizier another try, and you guys, I am so impressed by this. I had to come to the realization that Vizier is just a more buildable formula. It's not going to be super, their mattes aren't going to be super pigmented right off the bat. You can build them up, etc. Or it can just be like that sweatpants palette that you know you can go to, and it's going to be easy to use. It's not going to be something that you're going to have to spend millions of years blending. And I have been reaching for this so often to go to work, to create work appropriate looks. The only shades I have yet to use in this palette so far are the pastel yellow as well as the yellow. Everything else I love. The whole palette just gives me summertime vibes. I think it is so cute. I love the packaging. I'm very happy that I decided to give Vizier another try. Okay, I have two more neutral palettes, and then we'll get on to my two colorful palettes. The Colourpop Limoncello palette. I feel like people haven't really had great things to say about this, but I loved this palette. I thought this was really good. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was great. So yeah, this is definitely one that's gonna be in my summertime rotation. I love the mix of mattes and shimmers, and I love the choice of the shimmer shades. I feel like there's a decent range of shimmers. You have your champagne, you have this like peachy gold shade, you have these two variations of greens, and then you also have this yellow. I love this. I think it's beautiful. You have your pop of blue if you want to do the pop of blue, and this, when I got this, so I got this in March, and this I almost exclusively used for a couple of weeks, which is so rare for me to like exclusively use a palette, but I loved it in the spring, and this is one that is just going to stay in rotation for the summer. And then speaking of Colourpop, I just realized I forgot to rank these in my Colourpop ranking. Dang it! Oh well. Oh well. There's a Colourpop ranking video coming up, but you won't see my quads in there. Okay, so this is the Creamsicle quad from Colourpop. I did pick up 3 of their quads, and I will say I'm really impressed with the quads. I think they're really nice, but the Creamsicle one, it has absolutely been my favorite. It's just so, you're not gonna get a ton of looks out of this, but if I want a peach, but if I want a coral look, I am definitely reaching for this. The shimmers in this are so intense, so if you want more of that foiled shimmer, like the swatches are not doing this justice. On the lids, these are just poppin', and I love them. I've had so much fun with this quad, which says a lot because there's only 4 shades. So this is one that is absolutely staying in rotation for the summer. And then my 2 new palettes that are more colorful. This one from BH Cosmetics. This is the 90s Remix palette, and this just screams summer to me. You have a row of neutrals, which is super nice because I feel like it makes a colorful palette a little bit more approachable. But then you have these almost like vibrant yet pastel shades and a matching shimmer on the bottom. I have been super impressed with the quality of this. I was questioning whether or not it would be good quality because like pastels and vibrant, like I just was wondering how BH would do that, but I felt like this, but I feel like this palette just performs really, really nicely. The shimmers are all super intense as well, very foiled, metallic, beautiful. I'm digging this palette. And then my 7th new palette that's in the rotation, again, very colorful. This is the Flowerpunk palette from Kaleidos, and I have been living for this palette. You have colorful, yet I feel like you can do like also a grungy summer look as well. I just think this is stunning. The pinks, like these 3 pinks are probably my favorite. I really do like the greens. We all know I love green, but I have just been living for pink shadow lately. And there was a day I created a look with these 3 pink shades, and I literally could not stop looking at myself. Like every time I would walk by a mirror, I was like, oh my God, like I love my eyeshadow today. So also the packaging, 10 out of 10, like just, they killed it. I love it. That's staying in rotation all summer long. So then I have 8 palettes that I have owned. Well, actually this one I think I maybe got in January. We'll talk about this one next. Another colorful palette, another pastel palette. This one is from Menagerie, and it is the Pastel Pup palette. I feel like a lot of people think of pastels for the spring, which I do too, but I also think of pastels in the summer. I think of both vibrant shades as well as pastel shades, and this is such a good palette. I'm not gonna lie, when I first swatched these, it almost looked like I got a little bit of hard pan on the shadows, and I was a little bit concerned that I was not gonna be impressed with the quality, but I have been so impressed with the quality of this palette. I think it's phenomenal. I love this shade Snowball as well. It's this really beautiful blue shade, like, oh my gosh, it's like in person, it's just almost indescribable. It is such a pretty and unique shade. I absolutely adore that shade. But also the matte shadows for past, like, they are so good. They are so pigmented. They don't take a lot of building. And I've just had really good luck with this palette. I've really been enjoying it, and I'm excited to continue to use it throughout the summer. Okay, so then my last 7 palettes, actually another one I got like towards the end of last year or beginning of this year. But I have 7 palettes left to share. No, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. I actually have 17 palettes. I don't know how I miscounted. I don't know how I was off by 2, but we're just gonna keep rolling with it. I'm gonna share all 17 with you. Okay, this next palette I may have gotten at the tail end of 2020, but I did not start trying this out until 2021. But I'm literally so excited to use this all summer long. This is the Sigma Corderosa palette. There is something about like orangey corals that I just live for in the summer. I have another coral palette we'll be talking about, but I actually did not, like, of all 4 Sigma palettes that I have, I thought this would be my least favorite. And I would probably say that this might be my most favorite. Like, I'm most excited to reach for this. The shimmers, they have some really unique textures, but they are just like banging on the eyes. I adore this palette, and I'm very excited to continue to use that all summer. Just screams summer to me. And then speaking of corals, the Huda Beauty Coral Obsession. This goes with me on any sort of warm vacation, so naturally it's gonna come out for me in the summertime as well. Again, just like screams like those vibrant pinks, vibrant corals for the summer, and I love this one. And then another Huda one, I have a little of this on my eyes today, but obviously neons to me scream summer, and it's really the only time of year I do get use out of this palette. I have the neon orange, and I actually really enjoy this when I'm wanting a neon look. I think the quality on this is actually really good, especially considering there's been a couple more neutral palettes from Huda that I feel like are not my favorite. I'm thinking of the Haze collection. Was not that impressed with the quality there, but I think the quality on these is really nice. I will say the shimmers, the majority of the shimmers in this are more chunky, so they definitely perform best with the glitter glue, but I think this is a great one, and I will get some more use out of this summer. All right, let's move on to a few more colorful palettes. The Kaleidos Escape Pod. Super vibrant, super bright. Love this palette. I love the shimmer row. The purple, I just like love this palette. So beautiful. I definitely get the most use out of the shimmers. Sometimes I just reach into this for a shimmer, but I mean, these are really fun colors too. I actually really want to do like a look with, I have another palette I'm going to be talking about. I want to do a look with like this like bluish periwinkle shade. I like have this vision in my mind, and I feel like this palette could also help me get there. This is just something, again, I reach for definitely the most in the summer because it's more bright, it's more colorful. Can I get use out of this other times of the year? Yes, but definitely get the most use out of this in the summer. So then also my Sugarpill Bite Size palette or Fun Size palette. I mean, I love this palette. It's so cute. So like, again, vibrant yet pastel kind of, and this was just a summertime dream in my opinion. So I'm very excited to pull that one back out. And then obviously I had to pull out the BH Cosmetics Weekend Festival. This has been a favorite palette of mine for so many years. I have 3 or 4 pans, 3 pans in here. Again, lots of color in here, but you also have neutral shades too. So you really can go either direction with this. This is a palette that actually comes traveling with me quite a bit as well because it offers me neutrals, but if I, for some reason on vacation, want to pop a color, I have that as well. So I'm just so excited to continue to use this. This has been a favorite for so long. And then the final 3, I feel like everyone includes this in their summertime palette, at least those who own it. The Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. It just has those like magentas, the like burnt, like sunny yellows, and then just some really beautiful shimmers as well. I love this palette. I think it's beautiful. Very excited to reach for this. The Tarte Unleashed palette. This is one I feel like sometimes I forget about, but I do really enjoy this one for the summer just because it has those oranges and then it also has like your pop of blue. But I also love this palette for the row of like pinky mauve tones as well. Definitely in the summer I get the most use out of these two rows. I have said many times about this palette, I was so excited for the shade Hawkward, but this is definitely more like a lid topper shade. It's a little bit chunky and it just doesn't perform how I wanted it to. But I was really impressed with the orange shades. I recently did like a yellow orange look that I just loved so much, and I'm really excited to play around with orange more this summer. So I'm very excited to have this one pulled out. And then the 17th and final palette that is going to be in my summertime rotation. I'm literally obsessed with this palette. This is like, if I were to really think about it, this is a palette that I don't feel like my collection could live without. It's just a 7-pan palette from Kaleidos. It is their, I think, Sashimi City palette. The two lid topper shades in this palette are so just, they're so, So here are, like, there is the pink shade. And again, I just feel like the swatches don't do it justice. And then here is the, like, it's like a yellow gold with like a green reflect. It's, I don't even know how to describe this. I get so many compliments anytime I wear this shade. So I actually reach into the shade just about all year round, but I love the matte like corally browns in this palette as well. I think this is such a, I think this is such an easy palette to create like really simple basic looks with, but you can really amp up a look just by popping on one of the lid topper shades as well. So I love this. This is something that, like, again, for date night, I feel like I could reach into this a ton, and I'm just so excited to be reaching for all 17 of these palettes. But like I said in the introduction, I would love to know what are some of your favorite summertime palettes, or what palettes give you all the summertime vibes. I want to know. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting my channel as you always do. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in tomorrow's video for another palette themed video. Bye.